My mother-in-law stole my daughter, and for years, I thought God had signed off on it. But today I know he is not an accomplice to dirty paperwork and that he is still able to give a whole family back, even after love seems to have been swallowed by a stamp. My name is Grace Miller. I'm 26 years old. I live in a mid-sized town in the U.S. I work as a receptionist in a clinic and, for a long time, every time someone asked if I had kids, I had to swallow hard before answering. I do have a daughter, I'd say. But, it's complicated. Today, I'm going to tell you that story. And before I go all the way to the end, answer me one thing in the comments: where are you listening to this story from right now? And if you were in my place, if it was your daughter in someone else's hands, how do you think you would feel? If stories like this stir something inside you, subscribe to the channel, because what I'm about to tell you is not just about a controlling mother-in-law. It's about a broken mother, a torn little girl, a cowardly man, and a God who stepped into the middle, not to smooth things over, but to put everyone back in their place. When I was a kid, I thought a mother was something no one could steal from you. I grew up watching my mom, Carol, do the impossible with almost nothing. She worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices at night and serving coffee at a diner during the day, and still found time to show up at my volleyball games, cut my hair in the kitchen, and teach me to pray before I went to sleep. Our neighborhood was noisy, our walls were thin, our car spent more time in the shop than on the road. But I never doubted one thing: I was hers. It didn't matter if we had money or not, if the power bill was late, or if our couch was a thrift store rescue. I was hers. Maybe that's why it hurt so much when, years later, someone tried to convince me that being a mother wasn't something born in the heart, but on paper. I met Michael in a place where I never imagined my life would be turned upside down, in the checkout line at the supermarket where I worked. I was 21, wearing a green uniform with the store logo on my chest, a name tag with a Grace written slightly crooked, and a trained smile I put on my face every time a customer stepped up. He showed up on a Saturday afternoon, in a team t-shirt, jeans that were way too clean for someone who claimed he just moved in, and an expression like he wasn't used to waiting in line. "You look like you hate this place," I said, as I scanned his groceries. He laughed, surprised. "Is it that obvious?" he asked. "A little," I replied, shrugging. "That, how dare there not be an express line just for me, my face gives it away." He laughed again, more relaxed. "Sorry," he said. I'm not used to this. My mom usually does the grocery shopping." Of course she does, I thought. He was the kind of guy who grew up never seeing the price of milk go up. "Welcome to real life, then," I joked. He glanced at my name tag. "Grace," he read aloud. "That's a beautiful name." I felt my cheeks warm up. "Thank you," I said, focusing on the cereal's barcode so I wouldn't have to look into those light blue eyes, too clear for someone used to talking to people with exhaustion under theirs. He paid, picked up his bags, took a few steps, then came back. "Do you work here every day?" he asked. "Almost," I said. "Monday through Saturday." "Why?" "Because he scratched the back of his neck, like he was doing something very bold. "I wanted to ask you out for coffee. But I'm not sure I'm allowed to do that while you're at work." I laughed. "You just did," I said. "And I start at 8 every day. I get off at 4. He smiled. "So any day after 4, I'll stop by," he said. "And if you're not too tired of looking at my face, I'll buy you a coffee." I didn't know that afternoon that coffee would give me a daughter, and a scar that would take years to heal. Our first date was at a small coffee shop 2 blocks from the supermarket. I still had part of my uniform on, with a jacket over it to hide the green t-shirt. He showed up about 10 minutes late, apologizing like he'd committed a crime. "My mom blocked my car in the driveway with hers," he explained, laughing. "Can you believe that?" "I can believe you're trying to tell me you live with your mom," I replied. "It's temporary," he rushed to say. "I just moved back to town. I was living in Atlanta. Came back to help with the family business. Anyway, long story." He talked about the business like it was the most natural thing in the world. I talked about my 8-hour shift on my feet like that was normal. At that table, our worlds met in the most unlikely place. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, he confessed after a few minutes. I don't even know you. Maybe because I look like someone who can keep a secret, I teased. He looked at me with an intensity that made me uncomfortable and, at the same time, curious. You look like someone who carries a lot and still manages to smile, he said. That's rare. I shrugged. I didn't see myself that way. I saw myself as the girl who couldn't finish her first year of college because the money ran out. The girl who'd been working at the supermarket since 17. The girl who helped her mom pay the bills. Nothing rare in that. But having someone look at me like I was more than that was new. Maybe that's why, when he asked me to be his girlfriend a few weeks later, I said yes, so quickly. Maybe that's also why, when my period was late and the test came back positive, I thought, for a second, that maybe, just maybe, God was giving me a chance to start a different story. When I told Michael I was pregnant, his reaction wasn't what I'd rehearsed in my head. I imagined surprise, fear, maybe a nervous smile. What I saw was pure panic. He paced around my tiny living room, running his hand through his hair. Oh my God, he kept repeating. My mom is going to kill me. That hurt more than his fear of being a dad. And what about me? I asked. Did you think of me first? Of us? He stopped, looked at me like he suddenly remembered I was also there. Sorry, he said, walking over and taking my hands. I am happy, okay? Really? It's just, you don't know my mom. He was right. I didn't. But I was about to. The first time I walked into Linda's house, I felt like I'd stepped into a home decor catalog. The front lawn was cut with surgical precision. The facade had those white columns I'd only seen in movies. Inside, everything seemed expensive and perfectly clean, light-colored couch without a single stain, rug that made you feel guilty for stepping on it, family photos in heavy frames. I looked at my old sneakers with worn-out laces and wanted to go back home. Relax, Michael whispered. She can be intense, but she's going to love you. You'll see. Before I could answer, the door opened wider and a woman appeared. She was in her mid-50s, blonde hair in a perfect cut, soft makeup, wearing a crisp navy dress. The kind of woman who looks like she's always ready for a picture. My son, she exclaimed, opening her arms. They hugged. I stood there, unsure whether to move forward or wait to be acknowledged. She pulled away from Michael and finally looked at me. So this is Grace, she said, with a smile that never reached her eyes. I felt her gaze travel over my simple clothes, my quick ponytail, my nervous hands. Yes, Mom, Michael said, proudly. This is Grace. She walked over, held out her hand. Linda, she introduced herself. And I know it's cliché, but I really do hope this name will mean something about what I become in your life. I shook her hand, unsure what to say. Dinner was a parade of silverware I didn't know how to use and stories of, when Michael was little, that made me feel like an intruder. He was always so responsible, she said, laughing. When his brothers made a mess, he was the one who came to tell me. I looked at Michael, trying to reconcile that tattletale boy with the man who disappeared for 2 days when I texted him the photo of my positive test. At some point, between dessert and coffee, we got to the topic I'd been dreading. So, Linda began, folding her hands on the table. Michael told me you two, are expecting a baby. Every muscle in my body tensed. Yes, ma'am, I said automatically. She tilted her head, assessing my still flat belly. Was this planned? She asked. I swallowed. Not exactly, I said. But I believe every life is a gift. She smiled with a hint of irony. Of course, she said. Every life is a gift. Some gifts just arrive, wrapped a little unexpectedly. Michael jumped in. Mom, she raised her hand to shush him. I'm not saying I'm not happy, she went on. I love children. I love my grandkids. And if God allowed it, He has a plan. But as a mother, I worry. You're very young. Grace has a unstable job, let's say? She looked at me, waiting for agreement. I work at the supermarket, ma'am, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. It's not glamorous, but it's honest. Of course, she rushed to say, as if she'd been misunderstood. Honest work is a blessing. But raising a child is expensive. It requires stability. A support system. And well, she glanced around the house like that explained everything. That night, when Michael and I left, I held back my tears until I was back in my small apartment. I told you she could be intense, he said, trying to hug me. She doesn't see me as her grandchild's mother, I replied, pulling away. She sees me as a problem. He sighed. She'll get used to it, Grace. She was just caught off guard. I wanted to believe him. The pregnancy was anything but peaceful. I was so nauseous some days I could barely stand at the register. My manager wasn't thrilled when I asked to cut some hours. If you can't work, there are plenty who can, he said, throwing the weight of my mom's bills onto my shoulders. Michael, meanwhile, started working more at the family business. Or at least that's what he said. I need to prove to my dad that I'm serious, he kept repeating. That I can support you and the baby. In practice, that meant I was spending more and more time alone. The one who was constantly around was Linda. She'd knock at my door with shopping bags. I brought some things for the baby, she'd say, walking in without waiting to be invited. A better crib, some clothes. This place is so small, Grace. But while you're here, we'll make it work. She'd go through my kitchen, reorganize my cabinets, criticize my couch, my rug, how I stored things. You need to be more organized, she'd say. Babies need routine. Sometimes she seemed genuinely concerned. Sometimes, I felt like I was being evaluated for a job I knew I didn't have the resume for. Even so, when I was scared, she was the one I often ended up calling. When the contractions came stronger, a week early, she was the one who took me to the hospital because Michael was in a meeting, too important to interrupt. Labor was complicated. The doctor said things like prolonged labor, unstable blood pressure, fetal distress. I heard everything like it was underwater. When I finally heard my baby cry, my whole body relaxed. Lily, I whispered, before I even saw her face. Oh God, Lily, I'll never forget the moment they placed that small warm body on my chest. Her eyes barely opened, skin still a little purple, dark hair plastered to her head. And still, she looked more perfect than anything I'd ever seen. Hey, my love, I said, my voice breaking. I'm your mom. Linda cried in the corner of the room, recording everything with her phone. That day, I thought maybe I had finally done something that pleased her. What no one told me is that, sometimes, giving birth is only the beginning of a silent war inside you. In the first weeks, I cried without knowing exactly why. Everything scared me, Lily's cry, her sneezes, the silence. When she slept too long, I was scared something was wrong. When she cried too much, I was scared I didn't know what to do. I was exhausted, but when I lay down, my mind wouldn't shut off. Breastfeeding hurt. My C-section scar hurt. My head hurt. Michael tried to help in the first few nights, but soon gave in to his own exhaustion. I have to work tomorrow, he'd say, turning over. My mom can come help you in the morning. And Linda came. She arrived early, picked Lily up with a confidence I envied, swept, did dishes, cooked. You need to rest, she'd say, stroking my forehead. Postpartum depression is serious. My neighbor had it. You don't want that, do you? I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. Sometimes I thought things that scared me. It would be better if I disappeared. My daughter would be better off without me. I don't know how to be a mom. One day, at Lily's pediatrician appointment, the doctor noticed it wasn't just the baby who needed attention. Have you been crying a lot? She asked, gently, as she examined Lily. I shrugged, trying to make a joke. I cry at margarine commercials, I said. She didn't smile. And have you been thinking bad things about yourself? She pressed. I swallowed. Sometimes, I admitted. Linda, sitting in the chair beside me, sighed. I've been telling her, doctor, she said. Grace is very fragile. She doesn't sleep, doesn't eat right, cries all the time. I'm worried about leaving the baby alone with her. Those words cut through me like a knife. I would never hurt my baby, I protested, my desperation not helping. The doctor nodded gently. I'm not saying you would, she replied. But postpartum depression is real. Sometimes, the best way to care for the baby is to care for the mother first. That's how I ended up in a white room with a psychiatrist asking how long it had been since I'd felt joy in things I used to love. I just want to sleep, I whispered. Or disappear. She wrote something down. Have you thought about hurting yourself? She asked. I hesitated. I don't know, I said. I think maybe everyone would be better off without me. She explained, calmly, about a short stay in a specialized facility, to adjust medication, give me support. You're not being locked up, she said. It's not a horror movie asylum. It's a place where you can breathe, sleep, be monitored. A few days. Maybe a couple of weeks. Linda squeezed my hand. I'll keep Lily, she said immediately. You don't have to worry. I'm already doing everything anyway. I looked at Michael, looking for an anchor. What do you think? I asked. He was pale. I just want you to get better, he said. If the doctors think this is best, that day, exhausted and ashamed, I signed the first paper without reading all of it. I didn't know that wouldn't be the last signature that would haunt me. The clinic wasn't a scary place like in the movies. The walls were painted in soft colors, big windows, a TV in the common room, people shuffling around in pajamas and slippers. It was both comforting and deeply sad. In the first days, I just slept. The meds made me slow. I ate without tasting my food. I went to a few group sessions, but my mind was always somewhere else, in a small room in a small apartment, where a crib stood next to my empty bed. Linda and Michael came to visit. She showed me pictures of Lily on her phone. Look how cute she is in the new onesie I bought, she said. I smiled and cried at the same time. I should be with her, I kept repeating. I'm her mother. You are her mother, Linda would say, stroking my hair. And that's why you're here. A good mother takes care of herself so she can take good care of her child. She spoke softly, but some phrases came loaded with judgment. These doctors take too long to adjust medication, she'd sigh. And who does the responsibility fall on? On me. But it's okay. God knows I can handle it. I tried to ignore it. One day, she showed up with a folder in her hands. Grace, the social workers asked us to organize some temporary things, she explained. Just paperwork. State stuff. You know how it is. She pulled out some forms and laid them on the table. It's just authorization so I can take Lily to the doctor, handle insurance, vaccinations, things like that, she said. Since you're here, you can't sign everything. Bureaucracy, such a pain. But it's for the baby's good. I picked up one of the pages. The words danced in front of my eyes. Temporary guardianship. Temporary responsibility. Capable of providing adequate care. I looked up. Guardianship? I asked. What is this? Linda smiled like you do at a child. Calm down, dear, she said. It's all temporary. While you're here getting better, someone has to be responsible for her. Who do you want it to be? A stranger? The state? I'm her grandmother. I'm only helping. Michael, sitting in a chair in the corner, avoided my eyes. It's better if you sign, Grace, he murmured. It's for Lily's good. I felt like the worst mother in the world. What kind of mother needed a clinic just to keep from falling apart? What kind of mother couldn't be alone with her baby without raising concern? Maybe they were right. Maybe, for a while, she'd be better off with her grandmother. I picked up the pen. I signed. Little did I know that signature would be used against me years later as proof that I had given my daughter away. When I came home 2 months later, I didn't recognize my life. The apartment was tidier than I'd ever kept it. There was a list taped to the fridge with schedules, tasks, notes. I recognized Linda's handwriting. Lily's crib was no longer in my room. Your mom thought it was better to take it to her guest room, Michael explained, scratching his head. It's quieter over there. And you're still adjusting to your meds, my mom? I repeated, confused. My mom, he corrected. Lily's been staying there for a while. We decided it's best for you to focus on getting better. I felt the floor disappear. For a while, I repeated, clinging to those 2 words like a piece of wood in the ocean. In the following days, I visited my daughter at my mother-in-law's house. That's how I felt, like a visitor. Linda's house, which already felt big, now seemed like an entire universe I could never fully enter. The room she'd set up for Lily belonged in a magazine, white crib with a canopy, nursing chair, shelves with children's books Lily couldn't read yet, stuffed animals everywhere. A wooden name sign on the wall, Lily in twirly letters. I thought about the simple corner I'd prepared in my apartment, secondhand crib, an old dresser I'd repainted, a felt star mobile I'd made myself, and felt a mix of gratitude and shame. She loves being here, Linda would say, rocking Lily in her arms. Sleeps through the night. Eats so well. God knew what he was doing when he put her in my life. In my life. I swallowed. When I held Lily, my whole body remembered. My arms still knew her weight, my skin knew her smell. She held my finger tight, looked at me like she recognized me from somewhere. But after a few hours, the same line came, I think it's best if she sleeps here, Grace. You're still adjusting. It's not good to mess with her routine too much. A routine I hadn't helped build. I went back home empty-handed, with a silence that screamed louder than any baby's cry. Time went by and that, for a while, kept stretching like elastic. Whenever I brought up Lily sleeping at my place, new arguments appeared. The psychiatrist hasn't fully cleared you yet, Michael would say. Your mother, poor thing, has done so much for the baby, Linda added. You're not going to rip her from here like that, are you? Think about the child. It was always, think about the child. Funny how the people saying that never seemed to think about what it was like to have a body that had carried a life and now only had the smell of milk that fed no one. I tried to be patient. I went back to work, this time at a small clinic, working the front desk. Routine helped my mind a bit. They adjusted my meds. I laughed again, sometimes. I learned to recognize triggers. To go to therapy. To respond with more calm when destructive thoughts knocked. But one thing I never learned, how to be at peace with being a weekend mom. Little by little, I realized there was something more there. It wasn't just a care from Linda. It was control. One day, I got to her house earlier than planned. I came in through the back door, like she taught me, and heard her voice in the living room. Come to Grandma, sweet girl, she was saying. Who put you to sleep last night? It was Grandma, wasn't it? Who gets up in the middle of the night when you cry? Who takes you for walks? I stopped at the doorway, unnoticed. She was sitting on the rug, Lily crawling around, clutching a teddy bear. Mommy Grace loves you, Linda went on, voice halfway between sweet and condescending. But she was very fragile when you came. She wasn't ready. Who was here? Grandma. Grandma's the one who has always been here. Lily babbled something only babies understand. For Linda, that was confirmation. That's right, she laughed. Grandma is your rock. I stepped away without making a sound. In the bathroom, I locked the door, braced my hands on the sink and stared at myself in the mirror. I hadn't been perfect. I had failed. I had needed help. But I hadn't stopped being a mother. So why did everyone act like I'd surrendered that right on a hospital bed? The first time the word custody really scared me was in an apparently harmless conversation with Lily's preschool director. I'd gone to pick her up on a day Linda couldn't. "Hi, Lily," I said, opening my arms. She ran to me, laughing, backpack almost bigger than her. The director, a middle-aged woman with a practiced smile, watched us. "You are?" she asked. "I'm her mother," I said automatically. "Oh right, her mother," she repeated. "It's just that, in the enrollment papers, her primary guardian is the grandmother." "Linda." I felt the floor move. "Primary guardian?" I echoed. "Yes," she said, turning the computer screen toward me. "Here, primary legal guardian, Linda Miller. Secondary guardian, Michael Miller. Your name doesn't appear in the legal guardian section." I blinked a few times. The letters on the screen seemed to be in another language. "There must be some mistake," I said softly. I'm her mother." The director seemed uncomfortable. "I don't doubt that," she replied. "But in the system, that's what's recorded. If something's wrong, you can talk to the office with your documents." I nodded, took Lily's hand, and brought her home. That night, for the first time, I rummaged through Michael's desk drawer looking for any document with my name and my daughter's together. I found bills, company contracts, car titles. Nothing tying me and Lily together. When I confronted Michael, he looked like a kid caught with stolen candy. "Did you know your mom is Lily's legal guardian?" I asked bluntly. He swallowed. "Grace, it's not like that, it's exactly like that," I cut him off. "It's in the preschool system. Primary guardian, Linda. Secondary guardian, you. I don't exist. So tell me, to the world, who is Lily's mother?" He ran a shaky hand through his hair. "When you were at the clinic," he began. "The social workers asked who could take her. My mom, she stepped in. It was supposed to be temporary." "Temporary?" I repeated. "How many more years of a temporary, Michael?" "Lily is 4. How many birthdays are you going to watch your mom cut the cake while I'm introduced as Mommy Grace, like some distant aunt?" He went silent. For the first time, I saw guilt, not just fear, in his eyes. "I didn't know it'd become this," he whispered. "You didn't want to know," I corrected. It was easier to let her decide. I barely slept that night. If I had any chance of reclaiming what was still mine, I'd have to face something much bigger than church whispers. I'd have to face the legal system. I had no idea where to start, until one day, at work, as I checked in a patient at the clinic, God put someone in front of me who looked exactly like the kind of person I'd never have the courage to look for on my own. She came in for an appointment with the psychiatrist. Her name was Tessa. Curly hair tied in a high bun, big glasses, a folder full of documents. "Sorry I'm late," she said, out of breath. "I had a hearing this morning and, anyway, long day." "Hearing?" I asked, more out of politeness than curiosity. "I'm a county social worker," she said. "I work family cases, custody, child protection." My heart sped up. "Custody cases?" I repeated. She nodded, handing me her insurance card. "Unfortunately, lots of them," she said. "Most are messy. People who shouldn't have lost their kids but had no one to defend them. People who shouldn't have custody but know how to talk." She laughed without humor. "Sorry," she added. "Sometimes I forget I'm not in court." As I typed her info into the system, my mind spun. It could have been a coincidence. Or it could have been one of those small divine interventions disguised as chance. When she finished her appointment and came back to schedule a follow-up, my heart raced. I had two choices: let her walk out and keep pretending nothing could be done, or open my mouth. "Tessa," I called as she reached the door. She turned. "Yes?" "I heard you say you work on custody cases," I said. I don't know if this is the right place, or the right time, but I think I'm stuck in one." She looked at me differently, like someone recognizing an old wound. Are you a mom? She asked. I am, I said. But on paper. I don't know anymore. She came back to the counter, leaned on her elbows. Do you have a few minutes? She asked. I glanced around. The waiting room was empty. The doctor had no more patients booked. I do, I said. She sat in a chair near the desk, pulled out a small notepad. Tell me, she said. So I did. I told her about the hard birth. The clinic. The signed papers. The mother-in-law who became guardian. The preschool that didn't recognize me. The supervised visits. She wrote a few things down, but mostly, she just listened. Do you have copies of the documents you signed? She asked at last. No, I admitted, ashamed. I was so out of it I just signed whatever they handed me. She nodded without judgment. That's more common than you'd think, she said. And wrong, ethically. But common. Is there anything I can do? I asked, in almost a whisper. Or did I lose my daughter forever? She looked me straight in the eye. A child is not something you lose forever because of a form you signed while medicated, she said. But we need to see exactly what was done. She pulled out a business card, scribbled something on the back. This is the contact of an attorney I work with on some cases, she said. She's straightforward, fair, and has zero tolerance for manipulators. And yes, she's a Christian. The kind of Christian who knows God is not an excuse for abuse. I held that card like someone holding a lit match in the dark. It took me days to build up the courage to call. In the meantime, something happened with Lily that sped everything up. That week, her teacher had assigned a family tree project. The kids had to bring family photos and make a chart with their parents' and grandparents' names. That weekend, it was my turn to have Lily. She showed up with her backpack stuffed with papers and her eyes bright. Mommy Grace, she shouted, running into my arms. We're gonna make my tree. I picked her up and spun her around, laughing. A tree? I asked. But all we have here are apartments. She giggled and clapped. A family tree, she said. I have to draw who's who. Look. She pulled out a worksheet with a tree trunk and several blank circles. Down here is my name, she said. Up here are the parents. Grandma Linda already put her picture and Grandpa's. I froze. Up there? I asked. Let me see. She showed me a draft Linda had sent. Above Lily's name, 2 photos were already glued, Linda's and her husband's, Michael's dad. Beside them, still blank, Grace and Michael were penciled in. Grandma said that, on paper, she's my mom too, Lily commented casually, digging for colored pencils in her bag. But that I have 2 moms. Is that how you spell it? Mommy? I felt something shatter inside. What exactly did she say? I asked, trying to keep my voice light. Lily mimicked her grandmother's voice. Lily, dear, on paper Grandma is your mom too, because Grandma is the one who stayed with you when you were a baby and Mommy Grace was sick, she repeated, with a naturalness that made me want to scream. I took a deep breath. Come here, I said, pulling a chair up to the table. Let's do this tree together. I sat beside her, picked up a pen. Up here above your name, there are 2 people, your mom and your dad, I explained. Your dad is Michael. And your mom is me. She frowned. And Grandma, she asked. Grandma is, Grandma, I said. She goes up here above me, with Grandpa. I drew the structure, placing the photos the way I believed was right. Lily watched, serious. Is Grandma going to be mad? She asked. I swallowed. She might not like it, I said. But some things need to be put in the right place, even if someone doesn't like it. And Lily, she lifted her eyes to my face. You can love Grandma a lot, I went on. She takes care of you, plays with you, makes pancakes, I know. But there's one thing no one can take from me, not even her, the place of mother. Do you understand? She thought for a few seconds, then shrugged. You're my mommy, she said, like it was obvious. I was born from your belly. Whose belly was Grandma born from? I laughed, even with tears in my eyes. That Sunday night, after Lily left, I called the number Tessa had given me. The attorney's name was Amanda Clark. Her voice on the phone was firm without being cold. I've been doing family law for 15 years, she said. Some cases are fair. Many aren't. And if what you briefly described is true, your mother-in-law has a serious problem. But I need to see papers. We scheduled a meeting at her office, a simple room downtown with diplomas on the wall and a small cross on the bookshelf. I pray before I take a case, she explained after I told my story for the third time. Not because I think God will tell me who's the saint and who's the villain, but because I need wisdom to see where human justice is failing. She asked for authorization to request copies of my psychiatric clinic records, the custody file, preschool records. It's going to hurt to read some things, she warned. Because if your mother-in-law did everything I think she did, she painted you as the worst mother in the world. I thought of Linda sitting in my living room, holding Lily, saying, think about the child. I've been hurting for years, I said. If this helps me heal, I'll face it. A few weeks later, I sat across from Amanda and Tessa with a folder open on the table. What I read there sounded like it was about someone else, not me. History of emotional instability of the biological mother. Mother's refusal to accept medical help, to the point of becoming a risk to the child. Paternal grandmother has had the child since the first days of life. The child's best interest is guaranteed in the grandmother's home, which is more financially and emotionally stable than the mother's. Every sentence was a punch. I never refused medical help, I protested, pointing at the paper. I'm the one who asked for help. Exactly, Amanda said. And they used that against you. She slid another page toward me. Do you recognize this signature? I looked. It was mine. There was no denying it. I was medicated, I whispered. I barely remember that day. That's what we're going to have to prove, she said. That you were not fully able to understand what you were signing. That there was a lack of information and, possibly, manipulation. She folded her arms. Grace, I'll be very honest with you, she went on. Cases like this aren't easy. Judges tend to favor whoever has kept the child stable for longer. And in the system's mind, Lily is stable with her grandmother. My heart sank. So there's no way, I muttered. I didn't say that, she replied. I said it's not easy. But there's something that weighs a lot that your mother-in-law seems to have forgotten, truth. And something else, repentance. If your husband is willing to talk, a lot changes. I laughed bitterly. Michael has always been willing to do one thing, not upset his mother, I said. Tessa, who'd been quiet until then, finally spoke. Sometimes God uses the weight of guilt itself to break people like that, she observed. Do you know how he's doing? I didn't know what to answer. In recent months, Michael had been quieter. Sometimes I caught him looking at old photos of us on his phone. Other times, I saw him leave at night and come back with red eyes. I don't know, I said. But if he has to choose between me and his mother, it's not between you and his mother, Amanda cut in. It's between continuing to lie or telling the truth. Between protecting an error or protecting his daughter. She closed the folder. I'm taking this case, she said. And before you ask, I know you can't afford what it's worth. Tessa warned me. Consider this a mix of ministry and stubbornness on my part. I stared at her, surprised. Why? I asked. Why help me like this? She shrugged. Because I believe in a God who gives kids back to their parents, she said. And because I'm tired of seeing people using his name to justify power abuse. Leaving Amanda's office that day, I looked up at the cloudy sky in our small town and, for the first time in a long time, whispered a prayer that wasn't just venting. It was a request. God, if you're still there, Please, step into this fight with me. As the case started to move in the files, God began stirring something inside people. The first one to be shaken was Michael. He had always been Linda's perfect son. The boy who told on his brothers, who didn't make messes, who went to church and quoted verses. Inside, though, there was a little boy hiding in a man who'd made cowardly choices. One night, he walked into his mom's house and found her, as always, in the living room with Lily. They were watching a cartoon. Lily lay with her head on Grandma's lap under a small pink blanket. That blanket had been the first gift I bought Lily while pregnant, with the money from an entire Saturday of overtime at the supermarket. I'd found it in a second-hand store, washed it at home, embroidered Lily on one corner with pale blue thread. Seeing that blanket there, in Linda's lap, always pinched something in me. "Grandma, am I sleeping here again tonight?" Lily asked. "Of course, sweetheart," Linda replied. "This is your home." "And mine?" Michael thought, lacking the courage to say it out loud. Later, after Lily was asleep, he walked into the kitchen and heard his mom on the phone. "You know how it is," she was saying. "If I hadn't stepped up, that girl would be in foster care. Grace has no structure. God chose me for this." He heard "I chose me" echo in his head. When Linda hung up, he cleared his throat. "Mom," she turned. "Oh, honey. Did you just get here?" "I heard you talking about Grace," he said. She made a face. "I was talking about the situation," she corrected. "You know how it was. If I wasn't here, Lily wouldn't be in foster care," he cut in. "Grace was never a monster." Linda frowned. "Son, this isn't about monsters," she said. "We're talking about capacity. About who did the work. When your daughter was born, Grace was in a hole. She signed the papers herself. I just did what needed to be done." He took a deep breath. "And what if she's different now?" he asked. "What if she's stable? Getting help? In treatment?" Linda looked at him like he'd just spoken blasphemy. "You're really thinking about messing with what God arranged?" she asked, hurt. "This house is Lily's place. She has everything here. Her room, good school, safety. What are you willing to risk? Just because Grace suddenly decided to feel like a mother?" He lowered his gaze. "She's always felt like a mother," he said. "She was just sick." "Diseases like that don't just vanish, Michael," Linda shot back. "And honestly, I don't trust her stability. Did you forget those days? Her crying, saying she wanted to disappear? What kind of environment is that for a child?" He remembered. He remembered her on the bathroom floor, shaking. He remembered pretending it wasn't that bad. "Mom, I messed up too," he said, voice breaking. "I should have protected Grace. I dumped everything on you because it was easier than facing reality." "But, don't start with that speech," she cut him off. "Protecting Lily was our job. And I did it. You really think God is going to applaud you if you take this child from here to put her back in chaos?" He didn't answer. That night, instead of going straight home, he parked in front of a church, not the one he attended with his mother, a different one. He walked in and sat in the last row. The service was over. Only a few lights were still on. A man in a dress shirt, no tie or jacket, was tidying up near the stage. "Can I help you?" the man asked when he saw Michael. I don't know," Michael replied. "I think I need more help than I can give." The man smiled. "I'm the pastor here," he said. "Name's Daniel. Want to talk?" Michael hesitated. "I already have a pastor," he said. "But I think I needed to talk to someone who doesn't know my mom." Pastor Daniel chuckled. "All right," he said. "So today you're just talking to a guy who doesn't know your mom yet." They sat on the pew. Michael told him everything. The marriage. Grace's depression. The paperwork. The custody. How his mom had taken over. How he'd always stood one step behind. I always said I wanted to be a man of God, he confessed. But when my wife needed me most, I let other people decide. I stayed on the fence. And now I'm scared of messing with this and hurting my daughter even more. The pastor listened silently, then asked, "Do you love your daughter?" "With everything in me," Michael replied, without hesitation. "Do you love Grace?" He thought of their fights, silences, nights he'd wanted to run. "I still do," he admitted. "But love doesn't feel like enough." The pastor nodded. "Loving isn't always feeling," he said. "Sometimes it's taking responsibility. And from what you've told me, there's a little girl in the middle paying the price for the adult's cowardice." Michael bowed his head. "You didn't protect your wife," Daniel continued, without sugarcoating it. "And now you have a chance to at least protect the truth. The question is, are you afraid of hurting your mom, or of hurting your own image as the perfect son?" The question hit home. That night, for the first time, Michael knelt on the floor of an empty church, not to ask for blessings, but to ask for courage. The court date came faster than I expected. The courthouse was big and cold, echoing with hurried footsteps and anxious voices. I sat on a wooden bench, hands sweating, while Amanda went over a few points. "Don't answer anything you don't understand," she reminded me. "If a question is confusing, I'll step in. Breathe. You're not lying. The one who should worry about contradictions isn't you." Down the hall, I saw Linda arrive. She wore a perfectly tailored gray suit, hairstyled just right, soft makeup. Beside her, her attorney, a tall man in an expensive suit, carried a folder. She walked up to me. "I never wanted it to come to this," she said, voice a mix of hurt and superiority. "We could have settled this as a family." I swallowed. "For you, as a family, it means everyone agreeing with you," I replied calmly. "I tried. For years." She sighed. "You're letting anger speak, Grace," she said. "That's not from God." I almost laughed. "Using my illness to take my daughter from me is from God?" I asked. Her eyes flashed with indignation. "I saved this child from chaos," she hissed. Before I could answer, Amanda stood up. "Any further conversation can happen inside," she said firmly. "Now it's the judge's turn." Michael arrived a few minutes later. When he came closer, my heart raced. We hadn't seen each other in person for weeks. Since the case started, we'd only texted briefly about Lily. "Hi," he said, looking smaller than I remembered. "Hi," I replied. He looked at me, then at his mother, then at the floor. I'm going to tell the truth today," he whispered so only me and Amanda could hear. Amanda nodded. "That's the least your daughter deserves," she said. We entered the courtroom. The judge was in his 60s, glasses resting low on his nose, with the tired expression of someone who's seen a lot of ugly things. After the formalities, the hearing began. Linda's attorney presented her like a hero. "Your Honor, Ms. Linda Miller assumed custody of the minor Lily Miller at a critical moment, when the biological mother was facing a severe psychiatric crisis," he said. "Since then, the child has found in her grandmother's home the stability, resources, and healthy environment that, unfortunately, the mother could not provide at that time." I wanted to scream that I was right there. That I was alive, lucid, medicated, working, going to therapy. But I stayed quiet. When it was Amanda's turn, her tone was different. "Your Honor, no one here denies that Ms. Linda cared for Lily in crucial moments," she began. "But caregiving does not grant anyone the right to take on a title that isn't theirs. And worse, it doesn't grant the right to use someone's vulnerability as leverage to make permanent decisions." She laid some documents on the table. "Here we have the forms signed by Ms. Grace Miller at the time of her hospitalization," she continued. "The psychiatric reports clearly show how fragile her mental state was. Social workers' notes showed that the idea of a temporary guardianship was presented to her as something provisional and revocable. However, what was formally requested in court, through Ms. Linda's attorney was a much broader guardianship that effectively erased the mother's rights. The judge flipped through the documents. Ms. Linda, he said over his glasses, do you deny that you requested, through your attorney, a broader guardianship than what the reports described? Her attorney stepped in. Your Honor, everything was done within the law, he said. Our priority was always the best interest of the child. I did what I thought was best for my granddaughter, Linda added. If I hadn't, who knows where that child would be? She would be with her mother, Amanda replied firmly. A mother who did, yes, need help for a time. But instead of being supported so she could reclaim the place that was always hers, she was progressively discredited. Amanda called me to testify. My voice shook, but I told my story. I described the day I signed without understanding. The supervised visits. The way they referred to my own daughter in the third person. The family tree project and what Lily had said. I'm not here to erase everything Linda did, I concluded. I recognize that if she hadn't been there when I was at my lowest, things might have been worse. I'm grateful for that part of the story. But gratitude doesn't mean I have to accept her dressing herself in a role that's mine. I am the mother. And I want the chance to actually be that, not just on weekends. When Michael was called up, the air in the room got heavier. Mr. Michael Miller, the judge began, were you present when these agreements were made? He took a deep breath. I was, Your Honor, he said. Did you understand, at the time, that what was being requested was a broader guardianship in favor of your mother? He looked at Linda's attorney, whose face had a subtle warning in it. Then he looked at me. Then, maybe, at something inside himself that was tired of running. I did, he said. Linda's eyes went wide. Michael, she hissed. The judge held up his hand. Why, then, did you not explain this clearly to your wife? He asked. Michael's hands shook. Because, he started, voice breaking. Because I was scared. I'd just seen Grace sink into a depression. I saw my mom holding everything together. Sometimes it seemed easier to let her decide. And honestly, I hid behind that. I told myself it was to protect Lily, but deep down, I was protecting my own cowardice. A tear rolled down Linda's cheek. Son, how can you, Mom? He cut her off in a tone I'd never heard from him. I love you. And I know you love Lily. But you crossed a line. You used Grace's illness to take something that wasn't yours. I should have defended my wife. I should have defended the truth. I didn't. Today I'm saying it was wrong. The room went silent. Even Linda's attorney seemed at a loss for words. Amanda took a deep breath like she was praying without closing her eyes. Your Honor, she said, we're not asking to sever Lily's bond with her grandmother. We recognize the attachment. What we're asking is that the proper order be restored. That the mother become the primary guardian. That the father take on his role. And that the grandmother be a grandmother. Nothing more, nothing less. The judge stayed quiet for a few moments, flipping through the file. I'll review everything carefully, he said. But I'll say this court cannot endorse arrangements that exploited one person's vulnerability to turn what should have been temporary into something permanent. It took a few days to get the ruling. Every notification on my phone made me nearly drop it. Then one afternoon, at the clinic's reception desk, my phone rang. Grace, Amanda said on the other end. Are you sitting down? I am, I said, heart pounding. The judge decided to restore your custody as primary parent, she said. Lily is going to live with you. Linda retains visitation rights as grandmother, at set times. And yes, Michael will have regular contact too, under certain conditions. I didn't answer. Because in that moment, my throat felt like dry sand. You still there? She asked. I am, I managed. I don't know if I believe it. Then do this, she replied. Tonight, when your daughter sleeps in your home as her home, believe it a little more. I hung up and, for the first time since Lily was born, cried tears of joy. Lily's first night at my place as a home was a mix of chaos and holiness. I spent the whole afternoon fixing up the room that had been nothing but a storage space for years. I painted the walls with cheap lilac paint I got on sale. Stuck glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Set up a bed where the crib used to be. Unpacked toys I'd kept in boxes. Folded the pink blanket and laid it on the pillow. That blanket looked smaller than I remembered, now that Lily had insisted on bringing it from Grandma's as my baby blanket. "It has to come," she'd said. "Because it's half my story." When Linda's car pulled up in front of my building, my palms started to sweat. I walked down the stairs, took a deep breath, and opened the door. Lily came running, backpack on, stuffed animal in one hand, blanket in the other. "Mommy," she yelled, jumping into my arms. I hugged her so tight I almost knocked her over. Over her shoulder, I saw Linda standing on the sidewalk. She looked smaller than ever. "Thank you for bringing her," I said politely. She nodded, swallowing hard. "She has everything here," she murmured, as if still trying to convince herself. Room. School. Routine. "And now she's going to have all that upstairs too," I said, pointing to my apartment. "And if you want to visit her as Grandma, you'll be welcome. As long as you respect everyone's place." She looked at me like she was seeing someone new. "You've changed," she said. "I just remembered who I am," I replied. She dropped her gaze. "I thought I was doing the right thing," she whispered. "I thought God had given me this mission." "God is not a child thief, Linda," I said gently but firmly. "He didn't take me off the stage to crown you as mother. He used you for a time to care for what was mine when I couldn't. And I'm grateful for that. But now, he's putting things back where they belong." A tear rolled down her cheek. "I don't know who I am if I'm not taking care of someone," she admitted. "Maybe it's time you find out," I said. She nodded, lost for words. "Bye, Grandma," Lily shouted, waving. "Bye, sweetheart," Linda answered, voice shaking. "Grandma loves you." "I know," Lily said, already tugging my hand. "Mommy Grace does too." We went up the stairs. When we walked into the apartment, Lily ran straight to her new room. "All this is mine?" she asked. "All this is ours," I said. "Because this is your home too." That night, after bath time, a bedtime story, and a glass of milk spilled on the new rug, I sat on the edge of her bed watching her sleep. The pink blanket covered her to her waist. One little hand clutched the corner where I'd embroidered her name years before. I leaned my head back against the wall, exhausted and strangely whole. "God, thank you," I whispered. "I know I'm the one who signed papers I didn't understand. I know I messed up, got sick, failed. But thank you for not giving up on me." On her. For a second, amid the sound of traffic outside, I felt a peace that wasn't from fresh paint or a judge's decision. It was deeper. Like someone had finally placed my motherhood back into the right hands. A few weeks later, Michael asked to talk. We met at a playground near Lily's school. She played on the swings while we sat on a bench, watching. "I don't know where to start," he said, fidgeting. "Start at the beginning," I replied. "Or where it hurts most." He took a deep breath. "I was a coward," he confessed. "I let my mom decide everything because it was easier than facing the pain of seeing you like that. And once Lily got attached to her, I kept letting it happen. I kept telling myself it was best for the child. But it was best for someone who didn't want to be responsible." I stayed quiet. "I don't expect you to forget this," he went on. "Or forgive me today. Maybe not ever like before. But I needed to tell you I'm trying to be a different father now. And a different man. I've been going to another church, talking to a pastor. Not to look spiritual, but because I realized that a man of God I thought I was just a boy scared of his mom." I watched Lily laughing on the swing, hair flying. "Lily needs a father," I said. "Not a martyr or a hero. Someone who shows up. Who says no when he has to. who won't let anyone else decide for her again. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I want to be that, he said. Even if you and I never get back together. I took a deep breath. I don't know what our story will be, I said. I know that right now I can't trust you as a husband. That's a long road. But I know if you keep being the father you were in court, not the son who disappears, Lily will gain a lot. He smiled, sad but sincere. I'll take that, he said. One step at a time. Epilogue, the little sermon about stolen years and reunions. Maybe, hearing all this, you're thinking, okay, Grace, nice. It worked out for you. But what about me? My story? Maybe you don't have a mother-in-law like Linda. Maybe it was an ex, your own mother, your father, a spiritual leader, a whole system. Maybe no one physically took your child from you. But someone took your place. Maybe someone took your voice, your story, your right to be who you were. Maybe someone sat on the throne of something that was yours, marriage, calling, family, using pretty words, perfect Bible verses, for everyone's good justifications. And in the middle of all that, maybe you looked at God and thought, it was him. He chose their side. He signed the paper against me. I'm not going to hand you easy answers. I won't tell you that everything you lost will come back exactly the same. The years I spent visiting my own daughter aren't going to vanish. The first time she said mommy was to me, but her first feverish nights, first scraped knees, countless times she ran down a hallway crying, many of those were at my mother-in-law's house. Those years I won't get back. But there's something I learned, crying on the clinic bathroom floor, crying in front of a judge, crying at the edge of a bed where a child finally slept in my home. God does not call his will what was built on fear, lies, and manipulation. He may use a crooked structure for a while to keep you from collapsing. He used Linda's house to keep my daughter warm, fed, alive in a season when I couldn't even get out of bed. But that doesn't mean he crowned her as mother in my place. It means he borrowed her for a time while he came down to pull me out of the pit. The same God who saw my shaky signature on that guardianship paper also saw the tears I cried without understanding what I was giving up. He didn't ignore either thing. He didn't ignore my mistake, my fragility, my responsibility. But he also didn't ignore the injustice of someone who, in the name of order and of stability, climbed over a heart he himself had placed inside me when he made me a mother. Reunion is not always a pretty hug with music in the background. Sometimes it's a hearing, paperwork, boundaries, you don't cross this line anymore. Sometimes reunion is rearranging the roles adults messed up. Who is mother? Who is father? Who is grandmother? And who is God? Because a controlling mother-in-law is not the Holy Spirit. A manipulative pastor is not the Holy Spirit. An unjust judge is not the Holy Spirit. God doesn't need to take away what he gave you to prove he's powerful. He didn't need Linda to take my daughter to show he cares for orphans. He did care for my daughter. But at the same time, he was caring for me until I had the courage to say, enough. Maybe you're in the middle of the process. Maybe you haven't even found your Amanda, your Tessa, your Pastor Daniel. Maybe you're only at the point of looking up and saying, if you're still there, step into this fight with me. I don't know what the legal outcome of your case will be. But I know God isn't sitting up front with the gavel rooting for the stronger side. He walks in with you. He sits on the side with the ones who were misunderstood, who signed things they didn't understand, who were labeled crazy, weak, unstable. He doesn't pat on the back those who took advantage of your vulnerability. He confronts them. Sometimes the first miracle isn't the child coming home. Sometimes it's the cowardly father kneeling, the manipulator being exposed, your own heart finally stopping calling God's will something God never wrote. If, at any point in this story, you saw yourself in me, in Lily, in Michael, even in Linda. If you saw yourself as the mother who lost her place. As the child pulled from both sides. As the man who didn't protect who he should have. As the person who did too much for others and crossed the line. Write one word in the comments, restoration. It's not magic. It's just your way of admitting, to yourself, that you still believe, or want to believe again, that God still writes after pages have been torn out. And if this story poked at old wounds, if it brought to mind the face of someone you might need to forgive, set boundaries with, or even confront, share this video with someone who might need to hear it too, or at least pray for that person. Not so they'll get what they deserve, but so they can meet the same God who started breaking my mother-in-law's pride and my husband's cowardice. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here we don't just tell cute stories. We talk about real pain. About people who really messed up. About injustices that, from the outside, looked like kindness. But mostly, we talk about reunions. Reunions between mothers and children who thought they'd only ever see each other on scheduled weekends. Reunions between fathers and their own conscience. Reunions between people who thought they owned others, and a God who reminds them no one owns anyone. And above all, reunions between tired children and a father who never signed a single sentence against them. Because in the end, this isn't just the story of how my mother-in-law stole my daughter. It's the story of how God reminded me that my daughter's final last name isn't Miller. It's a mine. His daughter. And that before any human court, he's the one who decided I could call her mine too.